welcome back to Design Bundles YouTube channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Crystal, and today we are going to be playing with the Cricut Hat Press. We are going to make our very own 4th of July hat to wear this year. So let's go ahead and dive right in. For today's project, we are using this Mega Craft bundle here. So this is a bundles inside of a bundle. It is bundles, lots and lots of bundles. So as you guys can see, tons of fun stuff. Not only stuff for this 4th of July, but there is all sorts of fun things. Keychains, there's stuff for your glow forge. There's some Christian stuff that you can use all of these things for t-shirts, hats, all sorts of fun things. Not just today's project. You could put these on signs, lots and lots of fun things, even as well as some mug mock-ups. That's just really fun as well. This one right here is so cute as well. This is the Summer Vibes bundle. So cute. So you'll see one of those printed out on the paper today. This one's a ton of fun. But the one that I'm actually using today is right up here. So I'm actually using this great big 4th of July bundle. When I say that this one right here is massive, it has 60 designs inside. You heard me, 60. So you can put these on t-shirts. You could do signs with these, lots of different decor. You could throw these on tea towels. So we're going to be using one of these today on a hat. And you guys can see there is several of these to choose from. I'm using this one right here today. I think it's so cute. So let's go ahead and get ready to press a hat. All right, so let's go over the supplies that we're using today. We are going to be using the Cricut Hat Press. I'm going to be using it alongside the app today, but keep in mind you could continue to use this with just this. So you could do it manually if you'd like, but you could definitely use the app, and that's what we're going to use today. So it's going to send all of our information to this so we can work with it together. You're going to use the hat form that comes with your hat press, if you will, when you purchase it. And then today I'm using this hat here. Now, this is not the Cricut brand, but it is one that I've loved for a long time. I use this with my bigger hat presses, and you could get them in all white, or you could get them in black and white. So if you guys want to see this tutorial, we have it linked down below for you guys, but you guys could definitely purchase these as well. Like I said, I have everything I'm using today linked down below. So we're going to be using this white one right here. You're going to need some of Cricut's strong tape. Whenever it comes to pressing the hats with that round surface, the strong tape is going to work a lot better than the traditional heat tape. So Cricut did do good on that one, because as somebody that uses a bigger hat press, that has been a struggle for years. So that was really smart on their part. So I do imagine multiple brands coming after and doing their own thing. So you're going to need this. Now, when you purchase your hat press, you do get a little sample size of this, but you could purchase more later. You may want to get yourself a little ruler to figure out how big you want this to be, and then some parchment paper to protect our little Cricut Easy Press from the ink. So let's go ahead and start off with the measuring thing, and then I'm going to discuss this. I'm going to show you how I did it. So with the Cricut little hat press here, it's got a curved surface, which allows us to press on those hats. And with this surface, you have a 3x5 window to work with. So you really want to keep everything about 2.5 by 4.5. You don't want to go any bigger than that. So what you want to do is take your little handy dandy tape measure and figure out. So you can kind of look at your hat and say, all right, 4 inches will work here, or maybe I want to take it all the way to the 4.5, and then how tall do you want that to be? So you want to do that and then print those out accordingly. Now, if you guys are wondering, how did I print all of these out on one sheet? I've actually printed out a few of some of these just to kind of bring up that size just a little bit as I was figuring out what I wanted to do. This is that Salty Beach one I was showing you guys that was in that one bundle, but all of these designs are in that great big bundle. So this is using 2 of the bundles, like I said today. But I'm actually going to be using this lip right here, and I'll actually tell you guys exactly what that is. So the dimensions on that one is about 4 1/4 by 2.5. So it's like right on the money. Now, if you guys are wondering, like I said, if you guys have an Epson or something like that, and you're wondering how could you print out something like this all together, if you guys are a Gold Plus member with us, you guys actually have access to a program called Scape. So let me go ahead and show you. Like I said, if you guys are a Gold Plus member with us, you guys have free access to this program. So all you're simply going to do, you guys can see I have all of these on one sheet, but how do you create it? So to simply create your own sheet like this, say for example, I printed this on 8.5 by 11. What I would want to do is go to File. I would then want to go to New. So once you click on New, you're going to come to this screen here. I'm going to come to where it says print. So you have social, print, photo. I'm going to click on print. And then down here at the bottom, I'm going to choose 8.5 by 11. Say, for example, I was actually printing these on 11 by 17 because I was printing out one for a t-shirt and I was going to squeeze this in and do a couple hats at the same time. I would just simply choose the 11 by 17. Once you click on that 8.5 by 11, all you simply have to do is hit enter on your keyboard and now you're ready to go. So now this is a blank piece of paper and all we got to do is bring in our design. So now what we need to do is go back up to file. We're then going to go to open in place. So it's very important to click on open in place, not just open. That's going to open a new tab. We want to choose open in place. Once you do so, you guys are going to see your file. So you want to go over here, maybe to your downloads, and then you would just simply click on the file that you want to bring in. Once you choose it, you're going to choose like a PNG or the JPEG for your sublimation. I've got my PNG. I'm going to click on upload. So you're going to do this with each one of these. So here's our first one. You're going to hold down the shift on your keyboard, and then you're going to grab a corner here at the same time, and we're going to size this down. So you can go ahead and size this down to exactly those dimensions, and then you're just going to move it about on the paper where you want it to be. So there's our first one. To bring in another design, you're going to go to File, Open in Place once again. And then I'll go back to my downloads. I'm going to go back to that 4th of July bundle here. And then I'll choose another one. So let's see. We'll choose All American Mom. I'm going to go to PNG. Click on Upload. It's going to bring it in at its normal size. And we're going to do the same thing. Hold down that shift on our keyboard. This is going to prevent it from distorting. You want to let go of your mouse first. And then you're going to go ahead and let go of that shift button. And then you can put this wherever you want to. So fit as many as you want. Now, keep in mind, you only want to put all of your polyesters on one sheet, and you want to do all of your, say, ceramic mug stuff on another. Or I have a hack for that. So say, for example, I want to print out some mugs as well. How do I do it? What I would want to do is I would want to print these out. So to print these, you notice I have multiple layers here. To finish off, once I got all the designs I want on here, I would then go up to Layer, come all the way down where it says Flatten Image, and then it's now one. You notice it's one file here, and you're going to have the option right here to click on PNG. Once you do so, you're just going to be able to double click here, and it's going to open it up. Then you can just go ahead and send it over to your printer. For example, if you guys are using a Sawgrass, you should have a smart folder, a little blue folder on your desktop. You're simply going to drag and drop it, and it will open up your print manager. If you guys are using an Epson, you could go up to the top screen and you would go like somewhere up here and click on File. You would hit Print and then go through those same settings. Now, say, for example, that I've printed these two. I would take this, I would flip it around, load it back into my printer. So that way when it prints, it's going to print on the opposite end, not on the back side, but on the opposite end. And so I'd come back over here and I would go to Edit. And then I would go to Undo, because now what I want to do is I want to delete these two off of here. So then what I would do is bring in two more and I would place those for my mug. And when I would print them, I would be able to choose now the ceramic settings and print again. So that's just a little tip from me, but this program is amazing to be able to allow you to print multiple at one time. I could get, say, for example, on the 11 by 17, I could get my t-shirt and then all of my hats as well. All right, so let's go ahead and make our hat. All right, so we are ready. So what we're going to simply do, once you're ready to, pick one of these here, you're just simply going to trim it out. So that's what I like about it too, is I can leave all of these on one sheet and then just cut out what I want. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut it out like so. It doesn't have to be perfect. You could use your paper trimmer for this if you wanted to, however you wanted. So I'm going to go ahead and set that out of our way up here. And what's really cool is I can print out multiple. So I can use all of the designs that I want to, not just with what's within that bundle. All right, so here we go. So let's go ahead and prep up. So the first thing that we want to do, make sure that your hat press is on. We're going to go to Start a New Project right here. And then we're going to go to Transfer Materials. And what we're going to do is we're going to scroll all the way down and we're going to choose the infusible ink transfer sheet. Because if you guys know, Cricut infusible ink is the exact same thing as sublimation. So it's going to give us those exact settings we need. I'm going to go ahead and choose polyester because this is a polyester hat. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit next. So now what we're going to do is send settings to the hat press. So what it has done is going to tell us we need to preheat for 5 seconds. So our very first press we're going to do is 5 seconds. Once we do so, it'll change its time over to what we need. So you can see it gives you a little example of what you need to do to how to load to your hat press. So we'll set this aside and it's sending all the information. It tells us the exact temp. So you can't see any of that here, but on the app, I can see that it's actually at 323 at the second and going. All right, to load your hat press, what you want to do. Now, I'm used to using the bigger hat presses, and I know that you're supposed to pull this piece out. So that's what I do because you want a nice smooth surface. So we're going to go ahead and get this guy loaded here, and I'll probably get my backside. What I do too is this. You can simply, if you have these, pop it open, get this guy like so. We're going to load it. So whenever you go to load this, this should be underneath. So that handle part should be underneath. And then, like I said, this guy right here should be popped out like that. Here we go. So we're just making sure that's popped out. And then now I can come in here and I could pop this guy back on here. So you want to make sure it's nice and tight. You don't want it loose. You want it tight on here. Now what you want to do is just kind of make sure that you've got a nice flat surface. So that's what I'm doing here. You can kind of pop that down on there a little bit. You just want to make sure everything is nice and flat. So the very first thing that I'm actually going to do is I'm going to remove any sort of lint because you don't want to skip that step or you're going to end up with some little blue dots. So I'm going to remove my lint and then we're going to pre-press this for 5 seconds. So if you just hit the little go button here, hold it down for 5 seconds, you can see it showing us there on the app. It's automatically picking it up. We'll set that aside and now we're ready. Now you don't want to stick that directly onto it right away. You want to let it cool for a second because if you don't, it's going to start to sublimate this and you may not have it exactly where you want it to be. So what we're going to do now is take us 2 little pieces of tape here. So I'm going to get my scissors here. Now I'm hoping, this is just a sample. When you guys first get your hat press, you get a sample. So you notice it has a really big piece. So I don't know if I can load it in my, my little tape dispenser I always get, but I think the rolls that you purchase from that's not the sample. I want to say they're probably going to be a normal roll, just like their blue ones. So I'm hoping so. All right, so we'll find that out because I've got some on order. All right, so now that that's cooled just a little bit, it's not going to be sublimating. We're going to go ahead and place this on the hat where we want it to be. So I'm going to go ahead and just line this up, making sure everything's nice and even, making sure it's tight on the other side. And then taping it down. There we go. So then I'm going to go ahead and take my handy dandy parchment paper like this. We're going to cover everything and we're going to pop this guy to cover the entire design and we're going to hit go. So you guys can see it changed itself. So now it's going that 90 seconds and it says light pressure. So we're just giving some pressure here. And so we're going to go ahead and speed it up. All right, so we are down to 3, 2, 1. It's going to beep for us. We're simply going to remove our parchment, and then we are ready to peel. So we're going to go ahead and just peel it like so. How amazing is that? Colors look amazing. So easy to use. We're going to be able to store this right underneath our cabinet. I'm in love with it. I'm obsessed. All right, so now all you're simply going to do is remove it from your hat form. Now, while it's warm, see how I've got some lines here? This is probably because I'm giving it too much pressure. That's why it says light pressure. You just definitely want to make sure you're giving it pressure. So while it's still hot, I start to work out those lines. So if you start rubbing it, you're just kind of like an iron with your hand there. And so I just kind of work out those lines. Those will continue to loosen up over time as well. All right. There you guys have it. So as you guys can see with this hat press, it's going to keep its form for us. It's not tearing up the hat. Normally we would have, put our hat press in there like I've done in the past. I've used not the hat press, but the Cricut mat, kind of folded in there, or a towel, and was doing that with our little, heat press and things like that, or flipping it inside out. Where now, if you guys want to do this without having to purchase and spend a ton of money on a big hat press, you guys can definitely make your very own project. So how easy is it going to be to pull out and make your hat for this 4th of July? Once again, all the supplies that I have used today is linked down below. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, please hit the like button down below and subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next one.